Come let me lime, come let me vibe, lime vibe. Come let me lime, come let me vibe, lime vibe. Lime vibe.
So welcome once again to another edition of the LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, the omnipotent one, Yori Araman Camp from the Bahamas, along with my co-host, Miss Kimberly Ramkalawan, the wonderful and beautiful Miss Kimberly Ramkalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing well, Yuri. It's Monday night and I'm trying to stay bright and bushy-tailed just for you guys here tonight.
How many cups of coffee have you had so far, Kim?
I tried to abstain from coffee today. I just had my morning cup, but I had to try and perk myself up with one more tonight. Just a tiny little shot, not that much. I'm hoping it's able to get me through tonight.
Yeah. Get you a little jazzed up, right?
Hopefully, yeah, perk me up. I mean, it's been a long news day.
Oh, so I was just about to ask you what happened today. What did you do today?
Oh, wow. Well, today we got the shock of our lives, sort of. It's in something I didn't expect to hear for a long time because it's been in the news for the last 2 decades. Is that the DPP here in Trinidad and Tobago decided that they were going to drop the case against the former Prime Minister, Basdeo Panday.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that it's a 2-decade-old case, and it's against the former Prime Minister, Basdeo Panday, and his wife, along with another minister. He was the Minister of Infrastructure at the time, Carlos John, and businessman Ishwar Galbaran Singh. The DPP says that it's time to throw it out because, he looked at the proceedings and he said several key witnesses would have died, they would have migrated, and it's like they can't go further with this case.
Oh, so what was the background of the case? What happened to it? I mean, what was it about?
So this case relates to the construction of the Piarco International Airport during Pandey's tenure back in 2000, the year 2000, when Manning came into office. They said that there was some bribery that happened to ensure that this businessman allegedly got this, the contract to build the airport. So there's 4 parts in the case: Piarco 1, Piarco 2, Piarco 3. Piarco 1 it deals with charges brought against the ministers back then and the businessman for an alleged theft of $19 million and a conspiracy to steal some US $200 million by business group and public officials. And I mean, these people are walking free today, and I don't know what proof they have of part 4. They say they want to see what will happen there. But Ishwar Galbaran Singh, he is the businessman involved in this, and he said it's like this was a plot cooked up by the then Attorney General John Jeremy, and just earlier today. Well, let me finish this. He says he's going to file a malicious prosecution lawsuit against the state for these charges. So he came out and he was vocal after the court case this morning, and
came out swinging.
Yeah, and Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, she had her political forum tonight. That's her Monday night thing, and not too long ago, a few minutes ago, she said it's always been the PNM's plot to launch a smear campaign against the UNC. And it's their purpose to just drag out these cases. They did something against Attorney General Anand Ram Logan. And the thing is, just like there's corruption cases against the UNC, there's corruption cases against the PNM officials. But for some reason, they don't really pay attention. I mean, Calder Hart was one of them. He was in charge of the UDCOT, which is a construction company led by the government, a state agency. And I think in the construction of the Brian Lara Stadium, over $1 billion was spent in that stadium.
Now you know the question on my mind, right?
What's that?
You want to know the question on my mind, right? Because if this alleged corruption happened prior to before Manning took office, so that means there was Manning and then there was Kamala Bissessar.
Yeah,
And
but there
then-
was Sunday before. So
Sunday
that's-
before. So my thing is, why couldn't Kamala make that case go away when she was in power?
here's what. So there's something called Section 34.
Mm.
And they accused her of trying to get that case to go away through something called Section 34. But it did nothing for them. And she said, and she brought that up today. She said, "Oh, Section 34, that's an application of the accused. A judge shall discharge any unaccused of any proceedings that were instituted prior to coming in force of this act, and the trial that has not commenced within 10 years after the proceedings were instituted." So how many years had passed since that, right? So they thought under Section 34, people accused them of slipping that in and that they were going to get these guys to run free, right? But that was not applicable here,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I think the
Next
case, yeah.
Now my next question, right? Kamala Prasad Bissessar was the prime minister, so she had no power to make any of this go away at all. She was the prime minister, you know. And so when I look at things like that, right? I mean, from a lay perspective, when I look at power, the power structure, she was the prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So that comes with certain weight in the country. You know what I mean? So some things she should be able to make go away. She should have the power to make certain things go away.
I mean, the thing is that if you want to getting involved inside of the judiciary is a separate arm of the state. The government should not be getting involved in something like that. And I think even though she had the Ministry of Justice, it was to really ensure that there was a smooth runnings with national security and court systems. That was just the administration of it.
Do you really believe all these prime ministers around the Caribbean don't have any power over the judiciary? And they have no control over some of the judges?
They do. And we've seen it time after time here in Trinidad and Tobago. We saw how Prime Minister Manning got involved in a case and he was able to out a Chief Justice, Sat Sharma.
Yeah,
and ran him out of the office. And then you see there's this whole thing happening right now in recent years with Prime Minister Rowley and the current CG. So there are things that are happening, but it's convenient to the audience that wants to hear it and wants to make it public.
I'm glad you brought up Iva Archie and Rowley, because that just shows on the other side how impotent Rowley can be sometimes as well too, because he could not put I guess you're saying it's judiciary, right? But it just goes to show you how much power Rowley does not have in Trinidad and Tobago. So I believe if you're the prime minister, you're the prime minister, and that's like how Kamala was the prime minister. She could have gotten that case from finally to go away. It was only a case of corruption. She could have gotten that. She could have quashed that months before all this came to be. That just goes to show you how powerless they are. They pretend to be powerless. That's my take.
That's your take. I mean, if you get yourself involved in things like that, it also sullies your track record. In our country, maybe it happens in other small islands here in Trinidad and Tobago. They try to give the illusion that there is a separation of powers, right? And if they're doing anything, it's really subtle. It's not. They try not to be up in your face, even though it's there.
Yeah. I'm not saying be overt. I'm not saying go on, tell the Chief Justice, if he needs to quash the case. But I'm saying that there's certain powers with the Prime Minister's position, that they can make certain things happen, or they can make a judge, or they can make certain information disappear, or put certain things under the rug. They
accuse the UNC, the People's Partnership, of then trying to use this Section 34 legislation to get passed in Parliament that would work. It never got passed until the PNM came into power, right? So that's the other thing. Section 34 did not get proclaimed.
So Kamala couldn't pass her own bill?
I mean, you need us. here's the thing, in your house, you need a special majority, and you know what's needed to get the laws passed.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that needed a special majority, and if she, I don't think that was going to be done. Your AGs can't do that, but I mean, they would get more flack, and we see things happening in the PNM, and it gets like, yeah, whatever, you know, yeah, we could do this if we want, right? But you know, yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying, Kim. I exactly what you're saying, but you know, that's just my take on it. I don't know. So if that's how it went, then fair enough. I'm glad Mr. Pandey is out of political and legal harm now, because you know.
No, it's not quite over yet, because they've got the Piaco 4 part of the case. I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's going to be based on what the DPP says he's going to do.
Okay.
And, you know, with the magistrate that is in charge of oversight of the case as well.
Okay, so we can't really talk about that then. So that's not being contempt of court, Ms. Ramkalawan.
No, it's not. It's just I've just stated what happened today.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not aware of what's happening under Piaco 4. Really.
Okay, that's good. That's not go there at all then. But that dovetails into another part of this conversation. That's the overt corruption around the entire Caribbean. There was an article on the Guardian website today talking about corruption. Did you see that?
Yeah, I know you said, and Kamala Prasad Bisasa actually referenced that article in tonight's Monday night forum.
Okay.
So, you know, because they cited a lot of things on Trinidad and Tobago here.
Yeah. It was done by Mr. Kenneth Muhammad.
Right.
Who may be Trinidadian, we're not sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time as well, Miss Kamala Prasad Bisasa needs to watch LimeVibe so she can stay up to date with what we're doing. That's what she needs to tune in after her meeting, Miss Kamala Bisasa. Am I saying right? Kamala Prasad Bisasa?
Kamala Prasad Bisasa. Just Bisasa.
Yeah. Miss Bisasa, you need to tune into LimeVibe podcast and listen to us talk about what's right, what's proper in the Caribbean, so you can be up to date, so you can be up to speed, Miss Bisasa. I invite you, ma'am. All due respect. So yeah, it was done by this Kenneth Muhammad. It was done March 4th. That was Friday. March 4th was Friday? No, March 4th was Saturday, sorry.
Yeah.
I talked about the Transparency International published its corruption index.
Yep.
And said a few countries, all the countries in the Caribbean were at the lowest, at the bottom of the corruption list. So the Caribbean region stretches from Bahamas to Trinidad and Tobago and can be said to include non-island countries like Belize, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. It is home to some of the wealthiest politicians in the world. Yet, the ever-popular posts on social media about the richest and best paid in the region tend to ignore most of the millionaire and billionaire politicians of Trinidad and Tobago and other islands. Wow, sounds like you haven't been in the bar for Trinidad and Tobago, Kim. Sounds like he has a lot of you guys, man.
Because what he's watching, he cited. What's interesting with the article, he cited that we were at number 28 in 2012. 10 years after, we've moved down the list to number 40. Right? So you want to know that shows that, hey, what has happened? You know, within 10 years, obviously, we've had three administrations. The PNM for 2/3 of it in the last 10 years.
Yeah, so you guys are slipping.
So
the article also mentioned Premier Mystic, Michael Mystic from Turks and Caicos.
Yes.
And how he resigned in 2009, you know?
It's 2019, that's recent, right?
Yeah, no, 2009. Actually. Mystic resigned in 2009. When the UK Commission found him high probability of systematic corruption of up to $75 million for sale of crown lands. That's when he was dealing with that Lisa Ray lady, you know. He was Hollywood Mystic. Hollywood Mystic. She's still fine. I didn't realize she was over 50 years old, you know. She's still fine as hell for a 50-year-old woman. That's yeah, it is. She's a beautiful woman, man. But yeah, he went Hollywood on us, man. I remember writing several stories about Michael Mystic during that I would say a turbulent time in Turks and Caicos history. You know?
Yeah, I remember him, former premier. And,
yeah.
He was quite
disgraced. He left under disgrace, man. He was absolutely disgraced. And he left office. I think his brother now, Washington Mystic, is now the premier of Turks and Caicos.
Washington Mystic, yes, he is.
Yeah, he came to the Bahamas along with the CARICOM delegates. and he visited Grand Bahama, where a lot of Turks and Caicos Islanders reside actually, because a lot of them came over in the 70s and 80s to work in Grand Bahama for Turks and Caicos. So he went, then he had a whole big shebang up there in Grand Bahama. You know, they laid the red carpet for him, man. Like he was Prince Charles, like King Charles now, I should say. You know, so we love our Turks Islanders, man. Even though they didn't want to come to the Bahamas when we were independent, but that's okay.
To me, a lot of the Bahamians are in Turks and Caicos, TCI.
Yeah.
A lot of the Jamaicans, Bahamians, they've got a lot of islanders there.
Yeah, we go back and forth. I haven't been though. I would like to go to Turks and Caicos. I'm gonna go before it's all said and done. But yeah, they're like cousins, man. They're like the far-flung island of the Bahamas. They were supposed to come over with us in independence, but they decided not to. You know, they wanted to stay under the British crown.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted.
The former what's her name? The former premier. She was of Bahamian descent.
Yeah, she was. She was born in Grand Bahama and she moved over there. Yeah. So it's easy peasy, you know. We go back and forth all the time. And then the same Royal Bank that we have over here, the same Royal Bank we have here. And that's how some of these guys have been getting by. Speaking of corruption, that's how some of these guys have been getting by with laundering money. Because once you get to the Turks and Caicos Islands, it's basically in British hands. So you escape the law in the Bahamas and put your money in Royal Bank and you could withdraw it in the Turks and Caicos Islands and you don't have to pay nothing else on it. It's like clean money. Wow. In it, sweet haven. I know. And a lot of these, especially the numbers guys, have been getting away with that for years, man. Before they went legit, they were putting the money in Royal Bank and withdrawing it in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and it was clean money.
Wow.
Yeah. And nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Exactly.
Oh my God, you gotta love the Caribbean, you know. We are such hypocrites. We are sick, man. We are sick people. But it was so funny though. You know, they've been getting away with that for years, man. But they're legit now though. So we can gamble now effectively without having to look shamefully as we walk into the numbers joint, you know, the numbers house. We can buy our numbers like decent, respectable human beings now without having the fear of a raid. So we're like all the rest of the other sensible Caribbean. Better yet, we're just like the other sensible countries around the world. It's just that we can't go into the casinos in our hotels. That's where we are, Kim. We can't go into the casinos in our own hotels. So we can go into the numbers joints. We go into like the rinky-dink over the hill, you know, gambling joints and casinos. We can't go to the hotels and gamble our money like decent, respectable people. What are we coming to, Kim? So back to this corruption article. Talk about Mystic. And they also talked about the allegations against Jack Warner for the FIFA thing. Oh Lord. How's he doing now?
That's a big one. I saw him a few weeks ago we had this whole Regulated Industries Commission consultations with the public over our Electricity Commission proposing to raise its rates and make the billing from bi-monthly to monthly. And he came out recently and he was talking against it, and he was questioning the commercial rates, questioning why is it that state agencies and government offices have not paid their electricity rates. That because they're the real cause. They're owing the TNTEC, which is the Electricity Commission. Yeah. We have a sole electricity provider here. Why is it they haven't tackled those companies, the commercial companies? Why is it they're coming after the small man, the residential rates? I mean, we're already dealing with inflation and high cost of living, and then you're going to raise our electricity rates. It's really unfair.
Yeah.
He came out to speak about that, and I think it was because it was held at the Center of Excellence. That's his building. He, you know. So
he does a lot in Trinidad and Tobago, doesn't he?
Pardon?
He does a lot in Trinidad and Tobago, doesn't he?
He did a lot. I mean, he was considered a Robin Hood of our time. You know, Robin Hood is known from stealing from the rich and giving it to the poor. And everyone used to line up to his offices because they saw him as the one that would give the answer to all their problems.
Which is a couple
He
of
wanted a solution to something because when he was in government, a lot of people used to line up at his office from 2 a.m.
Wow.
He would wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, get to his office, and scores of people were there waiting to speak to him and for them to get some kind of reprieve or help or whatever
Just
problem.
touch the hem of his garment.
I guess he would help them. So, and then we last saw him, I think the UNC had their fundraiser,
Him
choker.
and Kamala was having kissy food. They were kissing and hugging and loving up.
They were just together. It was a UNC event, and I was surprised to even see him there. Because remember, he broke away from the UNC and formed his own political party. So everyone, I guess they invited him after his he came out and he spoke there. They say, okay, let's invite Jack. Maybe he might do something. I don't know.
Yeah. So face of assurance. Does he still have his newspaper?
Yes, he does.
Okay, that's good. I get them every now and then. At least I used to get them every now and then, but I've stopped seeing them, so I wasn't quite sure.
Barry Camp all the way in the Bahamas, reading Sunshine.
Yeah, man. I'd stay up to date. I used to get them. I stopped getting them. I don't know what happened.
I think it's there, but I have never really paid attention to it. It's considered a tabloid here, so I'm not really gonna give it attention.
You know the tabloids? You know the tabloids? I love the tabloids.
No, I don't. I
love
mean,
the tabloids.
so the Newsday is considered a kind of a tabloid. At one point in time, they sensationalized the news. So it's based on who is sensationalizing the news the most.
Organization.
They're viewed as a tabloid here in Trinidad.
So who's legit? I guess Guardian, well, CNC.
The Express, Guardian, Newsday has established themselves. They've been around almost 30 years. Guardian and Express almost 100 years. So they're considered the reputable media organizations here in Trinidad, even though they've come into question many times, the editorial judgment, what they put in their front page as well, the angles that they take depending on who's in power at the day, in question. So
you can't take that serious, man, because someone's going to complain about something, just want you to do your job, That's why, you shouldn't really worry about it, because someone's going to get upset anyway. If no one gets upset with your headline or your front page, you're not doing a good job. You're just not doing a good job.
As a student of communications and media in Trinidad and Tobago, we look at everything. We give it a content analysis of over the years. Depending on who is in power, what you're going to see on your front page is different. So, we have tracked it, and you've seen it sometimes that it can be a little bit skewed, and the questions that need to be asked of the day aren't often asked, and many people wonder what's happening, and those who ask the questions, obviously, you're branded as being that kind, so and so.
Yeah, anti-government or whatever it is. I know. We get it in the Bahamas too. But they have a right to like who they want to like, and we have a right to like who we want to like. If we like, we like, we don't.
Not a few weeks ago, there was some questions as to why the Prime Minister was not allowing some reporters to come into his cabinet media briefings, and that blocked them out. It's no longer pandemic that you can block them, but
that's wrong. All the press needs to be invited.
Yeah, you can't say it's no longer pandemic and say, okay, well, if you're not allowed to be there in person, you should be able to join in virtually at least, right? If you're using space and stuff, but then you want to give accreditation to certain media houses and things like that. So that's where you begin to see the bias.
Media bias. But we
Yeah.
have no bias, do we, Kim?
What's that?
I say we have no bias, do we?
Everyone has their personal bias. I know
Mm.
that. I mean, I try to look at it. Okay, you give jacket, you know, for who's done something, and okay, no, you call them out on their nonsense. I'm not afraid to say, hey, you messed up there. You did some crap there, and I'll say it in a kind of, you know, write it in the factual format as a reporter. That's what we do.
Hey, I'll tell you the truth, I'm biased with my sponsors, man. Anyone who sponsors the show and sponsors our content, I am biased to you.
You're a sellout.
Yeah, but no, I'm not a seller. I'm buying in. I am buying into the program. I'm not selling it. I'm buying into the program because this is all this is. You know, and they all do it. You know, I'm not selling out, Kim. I'm buying into their program, and that's what they want. That's what they have it.
So
I
mean,
met them doing this. You know, I met these people doing this. Who am I to save the world? But back to this article, though, it says that corruption in the Caribbean has shown no improvement over the last decade, as we seem to be content to have set up shop at the bottom of the CPI. Wow. In terms of points, with 100 as a perfect score, Barbados dropped from 76 in 2012 to 65 in 2022. The Bahamas from 71 to 64, and St. Lucia from 71 to 55. Wow. Say some islands have been consistent in achieving low scores on the CPI as democracy continues to be eroded, moving steadfastly to autocracy, where the political and business elite has captured the legislation and law enforcement. Wow. This is pretty damning. You know, this guy, Ken Baum, he's taking a scorched policy, man. He has a problem. We can talk to him.
He is just stating what Transparency International is seeing, right?
I know, right?
I mean,
you could say it nicer though.
And he just zoomed in on the Caribbean, you know.
You could say it nicer, Kim. I might think he could say it nicer.
He could say it nicely. Sometimes we need that wake up call in an international forum to us. So you know, we need to wake up and smell the coffee as to what's really impacting us.
Yes.
And then, you know, just like we spoke about, what day was it last week, Wednesday, with EU using these as all, you know, we have money laundering and corruption. And when these reports are made, you know, and our corruption index shows this way, they have reasoning. And the Transparency International is guided by what it was founded by the World Bank, I think.
Yeah. World Bank. Yep.
Right. And it was their way of trying to curb anti-corruption and crime prevention, what have you.
I'm surprised they brought it back because they were supposed to have canceled this, to be honest with you, because of skewing of the data. So even the corruption index was corrupt.
Even they, to their fancy.
Yeah, they said that some people were noticing that the scores were too skewed and biased against developing countries, and so they had to put a stop to it, and they had to come back with a new formula. So I guess this is the new formula, and we're still at the bottom of the list. That's what we get for speaking out. Lord Jesus.
But we can't say we can't deny that when they talk about nepotism, fraud, bribery, kickbacks, you know, conflict of interest, the whole idea of revolving door syndrome, these are the things that he cites in the article.
Yeah.
These are all different forms of corruption. All these things have become really normalized in the Caribbean. Yeah. And it's true. That's what the article says, and it's true. We see day-to-day happening.
We're too small, Kim. We're too small.
I mean, even doing business and bureaucracy, the amount of bureaucracy that companies have, we keep hearing this every day, that Trinidad and Tobago, even right through the Caribbean, the ease of doing business has become so difficult. There's so much red tape involved in just trying to register a business. Any company, any MNC trying to enter into your economic sphere, they've got so many challenges.
Yes.
And then you know, they stretch it out over how much days, not just days, but months, years, just to get a passage or something. I remember a foreign company that was courting a group of us. They wanted to come and set up in Trinidad, and the amount of things that they wanted, they provided everything. It was tick books they provided on their company legislature. They provided everything that they had in America when it came to their audits and stuff in America. And all country busing style, basically, you know, on an American company wanting to come and spend money here.
Mm.
And what does that say? When they see that, it's like, all right, well, we've given up. You've tired us out. We're tired of trying that. Never mind, we'll look for somewhere else.
Yes, I know. It's happened here in the Bahamas as well. Back in the 90s, Bill Gates wanted to put a plant here in Grand Bahama. And the then Prime Minister said, you know, who the hell is Bill Gates? At the time, he was probably the richest man in the world, but he didn't understand the internet. He didn't understand computers. So God bless that ignorant fool that was in power at that time. But, you know, he missed a golden opportunity, you know, because he was like, Bill Gates was willing to talk and willing to build a plant, willing to do business here, willing to turn Grand Bahama into a tech hub back from the 90s.
Wow. Well, they've got set up in their own state, California. You know, you've got Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yep. You know, that's going to become a tourist attraction if it's not already.
It is. All the Bangladeshis and Indians are over there right now.
They're
running the show.
Yeah, making the internet work for us. Man, my goodness, that's amazing what they've done with the internet, though. I mean, the Internet of Things. Without the internet, we would not be here, Kim. That's man's intervention. That's man's invention.
Now there's the whole thing with the GPT and artificial intelligence. So everything that you say here today, they're gathering it.
Yeah, they are. And you can't be afraid of it. You know, you just have to ride the wave and be careful with it.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of articles popping up, even on All Local People, and you know it's written by artificial intelligence.
Really? How do you know?
So recently, one of our major chutney music stars died, Anil Beam, and I just decided to do some Google research on him. And I saw an article and it came up, and they tried to write the article like if a human wrote it, but you can tell the structure. There's a lot of repetition in certain things, and they've pulled things and they've made up stories that aren't really necessarily true. And they framed it into an format.
You wouldn't think it was an ignorant person?
No, no right thinking person is going to put that kind of information in the same sentence. Right? I can send it to you, and if you were to look at the structure of it,
please send it. I'd like to see that.
I mean, from knowing the person here, because he was a radio personality and an entertainer, they pull things from his children, they pull things from what they would have probably said and skewed it into something he would have said, and it's not what he would have said. So when you look at the structure, this is the thing. So whatever we put out there in this sphere and our names, they're going to pull it. Anything that's associated with our name. Somebody calls Yuri Camp, they're going to pull it, and you would see how it's put together. Constructed. The construction of the articles are not right. And a lot of newspapers are actually gravitating towards this chat GPT. It's artificial intelligence. I heard that CNNBC said that they were letting go about 10% of their staff because they found out that some were trying to use. They're going to gravitate towards using this kind of format.
Wow.
It's a dangerous precipice we're going.
Of course.
It can tarnish people's character.
Of course.
In ways and means. I mean, So last week or week before in Parliament, they brought the Data Protection Act, and Jolene John, she's one of the opposition senators, she raised ChatGPT being one of that reasons for implementing this Data Protection Act. So you have to be very careful. I'm not sure as to how legislation can protect us from something like this. It would be interesting to know how it's framed and how we use it to protect us going forward, because it's obviously something that's always changing, and we need to know how we thread with it And whatever legislation we do, it's something long lasting, has some longevity in it in protecting us going forward into the future. Because with the rapid rate at which it's going, we need something that would withstand the rapid changing of internet world out there.
Speaking of that, there was a guy who used to work for Silicon Valley, for Google in Silicon Valley, for a company that was doing some coding for Google, and he said that the artificial intelligence bot that they created was obviously sentient, like it could think for itself. And so I think the world now is grappling with the possibility that artificial intelligence may take over one day. You know, the future's here. You know, remember the Terminator movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here now.
It
But
is.
right there, just goes to show you how self-destructive human beings are. Why would you create something that's going to destroy you? Why would you create something that's going to be smarter than you? You see why God needs to be in control? Because human beings are just absolutely foolish. Why would you create something that's smarter than you?
They said they did not expect artificial intelligence. I remember when this story broke some years ago, right? That they had created such vast technologies within these computers to perform advanced functions, they call it, right? To understand language, analyze data, and even make recommendations, right? That we've seen that in use in social media. They pull whatever we're talking about. Sometimes, you know, you're having private conversations, and you don't know that your phone is listening, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Based on that, next moment you're seeing recommendations pop up.
Oh yeah, my goodness. Yeah, I see all the time, Kim. I'm sick of it, you know. I only search for one thing, and I get all these notifications from my Facebook, my Google search, my Bing search, everything pops up. It's annoying, man.
So, and I remember coming across an article where they said that that they weren't too sure. They didn't expect it to take on a mind of its own.
Oh my goodness.
Right. And they actually hinted that it's become a creature of sorts in Google.
I know.
I think the person got fired for that.
Yeah, I think it's the same guy we're talking about actually, because he was on CNN about 3 days ago talking about the same thing, that he was blackballed from Silicon Valley because he dared to talk about artificial intelligence being sentient.
Yeah.
You know? And he can't get a job anywhere else because they just can't trust him. But you know, I applaud him for coming out and being a whistleblower, because God knows if it's not already taken over certain things. Remember when the United States Airlines went down about 2 months ago?
Yes.
Wondering if that wasn't a computer glitch right there. That's never happened, I think.
Yeah.
You know, so all these things start to play in your mind when you see these strange things happening, and they talk about artificial intelligence being sentient and being able to think for itself. Come on, man, that's scary, Kim. Then again, why would human beings create something that's going to be smarter than itself? Why would human beings create something that can destroy its own self? That shows you how silly we are, you know.
That same person, he was trying to say that it kind of grew on its own. It became a beast of its own, harvesting such data, right?
Exactly.
And then harvesting such data, they didn't expect it to blow up in such a way. But with this chat GPT, the thing is, when it came out about a month ago, when news broke of, you know, people using chat GPT, the talk of, you know, people writing, you know, their PhD papers, you know, just pulling the information from the internet and creating it to be your own, right?
Yeah.
I've even seen on LinkedIn where it can even write something in your own handwriting.
Oh my goodness.
They've even designed machines to do things that it's not far-fetched, it's there already.
Yeah, it's scary. And that's when you thought cloning was bad, isn't it, right?
What's that?
Just when you thought cloning animals, right, was bad.
Cloning was what, 25 years ago with Dolly the sheep? I remember that story breaking in 1996, 1997, I think, right?
And we were afraid of that. So now they have computers that can think for itself, Kim.
So yeah, it brings up ethics. That brought up the ethical dilemma.
Yeah. I think the world powers need to really sit down and think about this, you know, because I don't think it's on the agenda anywhere when you go to the G20 or the G8 meetings, you know. There's not on the agenda of the World Economic Forum either, you know. The World Economic Council is not on the agenda because no one sees it as a threat yet until something happens.
The EU is actually talking about it right now, that they have to go
They
back
are.
now, to the drawing board to regulate the AI.
Okay, that's good.
So, as to how they confront it, it's another thing.
Hmm.
How to bring it under control? What can you possibly do? I mean, I think they're bringing about something called the Artificial Intelligence Act, right? And it's a whole draft intelligence rule book or something like that. So I'm not too sure what it involves. It's looking at the language model. That is what AI is, and so it has to have that ethical undertone of use of it.
Before it gets too far, really before it gets too far. But more than likely, it's probably going to get too far because we know human beings, right? It's going to get too far. I say most likely it's going to get too far before anything really.
It's already far. Yeah. Within weeks, this thing has blown up, and that countries are right now scrambling to do something. Some countries, they're like less about it. They're like, oh, that's not going to happen. But you really need to come up to par and see what's happening around the world.
Yes.
And you're starting to see it. If you're starting to see it in your media landscape, with articles being written by this computer generated thing, that puts out. We had this whole issue during COVID that there was fact checking and false news. And how are we going to combat fake news with this out there? Some people are not going to be able to differentiate it. A trained eye is able to pick up on the language isn't right. Something is skewed here. What's wrong? You
need to share that article with me so I can see that, man, because I'd like to see exactly what you saw. Because it may have passed a lot of people, and just maybe only a few people like you that actually saw that difference.
You're seeing a lot of articles right now popping up. You just Google anything, Yuri. Google anything almost, even within your own country, and you will see that articles just pop up on these particular topics. But if you look at the domains, something is wrong with even the domains. It's not real news.
Exactly what you're talking about, Kim, because if you go on Facebook, there are these ads popping up about the Bahamas, just popping up. It says Bahamas 242, but it has nothing to do with the actual Bahamas. Like it's all off. It's all off. Like where are you getting this information from? It's all off. I know exactly what you mean, Kim. I always thought they were just like people, or let's say, for example, Chinese or foreigners doing that, just didn't know the culture. But you saying it could be artificial intelligence, I could believe that, Kim.
Yep. I mean, if you just look at the domains itself gives an idea that something is wrong. And then I realized this was generated on its own.
Do you think now that people could actually, peel that back and actually stop this now?
That's just one layer of it. Because it's as if a company like CNBC can complain of ChatGPT taking over its news pages.
Yeah. Yeah. That's CNBC.
Yeah.
But something, I use a transcriber called Otter AI, and it has gotten smarter. I realize it has gotten smarter as I've started to use it over the last several months. Like certain words, certain Bahamian vernacular, like we would say like Eleuthera, and you'd use a transcriber as instead of Eleuthera, ELEUTHRETHERA, Eleuthera, it would say Lutra, LUTRA, but now it's spelling the whole word Lutra, so it's getting smarter as we go along. So sometimes artificial intelligence can be used for good cause. I think it should be used for a good cause, but it's scary how much smarter it's gotten, and the transcriptions have gotten a lot better. It's even saying Bahamian slang, and it's even spelling out Bahamian slang properly as well too. It's amazing, Kim. Called Otter AI. I shouldn't do a plug for the company, but they really saved me a lot of time writing my stories, Kim. They've saved me a whole hell of a lot of time writing stories.
I mean, I myself use the mic feature on my phone. If I'm hustling, if you're moving and you can't sit down to type the article, I would just narrate it and it would type out the words for me.
Yeah,
Give
Apple,
or
right?
take some of the things. No, it's not an Apple, it's Google.
Oh, Google.
It's
Okay,
my
okay,
Google Docs. My
okay.
Google
Oh, okay.
So your Google Docs, obviously, you can share it with your editor and things like that, and they can check out your new stories. And I have utilized it for writing my stories.
Does a good job.
It does a pretty decent job. It saves me. I mean, sometimes I might use a wrong word, but that's not hard to change. I know that I probably would like to change the context of the sentence, and I will do that when time to correct, but it saves me time in filing a story.
Yeah. I'd say by using my software, Auto AI, it would, instead of taking an hour to write a story, it probably takes me about 15-20 minutes now. So I have a whole
Right.
hell of a lot of time today, and I need that time because I'm doing a whole hell of a lot of different other stuff here. Like we have the podcast, we have the magazine, I have my day job, I have law school. I just can't keep up. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing. Then I also go to the gym. So it's like, it doesn't stop. From 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going. So I can't be, hunkered down, talking to people and wasting time when I can be doing something else. Because running Arawak Media and Western Freedoms is a job in itself. I have to raise money, I have to find sponsors, I have to do this, I have to find the evaluators for the contest we run. I have to get the advertisement properly done. I have to, there's a lot of different things, That's before I even get to the back end work, like my income statements and my sheets and my spreadsheets and stuff like that. So
Right, yeah.
that's a job in itself. And then with the LimeVibe podcast, we have to start editing these things now. I just have the time to edit it, I have to chop up certain things that people say and put them in 5-minute pieces now. I just don't have the time. I wish I could find an editor. I know we need a bigger team. But that has to come with money. Yeah, it has to come with making some extra money, man. So hopefully this thing can kick off. We can start making some extra money, like hire some people, man. Because that's the next step. Because we're at 151 subscribers now on YouTube. That's a huge cry from we were 3 weeks ago. We didn't have one. So now we had 151 subscribers now. So hopefully we can get to that 500 mark by the end of, let's say, April. And by my birthday, we can have 1,000 subscribers. That's in May. So we're still shooting for 1,000 subscribers in May. So we get 1,000 subscribers, and maybe we're gonna do something special for that 1,000 subscriber. And so just stay tuned with us and go to our Facebook page. You could like that too. We need to get 10,000 people as soon as possible. I think it's easy to get 10,000 on Facebook than it's get on YouTube, because with Facebook you can just you pay for the ad and you can have people like it. So it's easy to get 10,000. But
We've
YouTube,
appreciated YouTube followers. I mean, they take the time to subscribe and like.
Yeah, they take the time out to come look for us. I like that. I love that. So that's our goal, Kim. So that's what we're gonna do. So you say this Ken Muhammad guy from The Guardian. You say he may be Trinidadian?
I'm not too sure if he's Guyanese or Trinidadian. I'm not too sure of his background. When you Google if it's him, he must be obviously based abroad.
Yeah. That's something. If he's artificial intelligence, there's no Kenneth Muhammad at all.
Nah. I've seen his byline around sometime now.
That may be fake too, Kim. That may be fake.
No, it's been around a while, long before.
Oh Lord. So otherwise than that, the United Nations, they put out a statement on Haiti, a report on Haiti actually, saying everything will be ready now. So we don't want to go back and rehash it. It's going to be in the Caribbean Magazine Plus newspaper tomorrow. So if you subscribe to the Caribbean Magazine Plus, you're going to get the full story of what the UN had to say about the issues in Haiti now, the crime and criminal gangs. So stay tuned for that. But otherwise than that, Kim, it's been pretty dead over the last 2-3 days, I think. Nothing much is really happening,
I mean, a lot of things are coming on stream in eventuality. It's how many years since the pandemic? We're in March.
Yeah.
And in 2020 is when the world really started. In March 2020 is when the world really started to come to a grinded halt.
Yeah.
And it's been 3 years. It is 3 years. Yeah. Into it now. And the world is okay, let's pick up. And it's slowly getting back out there. And we're grappling with other things right now around the world. So people are still, and then we had the war. So a lot of things have been happening, and I think we're starting to come. People are planning events, back out, coming and meeting each other.
Yeah. I don't think we should give up this digital platform though, because I'm finding out people want to have these press conferences again, and it's so much easier, and you get the information out so much better. But you can have both platforms open here. You can have the live press conference, you can have the televised press conference,
Yeah,
the webcast press conference. It gets more people involved too.
it does. It does. I mean, to me, prior to the pandemic, we saw that it kind of made the Caribbean a smaller place for sure.
Yes, it did.
You know, when something was happening in Guyana, when something was happening in Jamaica, we were there.
Yeah.
So I appreciated seeing that happen since probably around 2016, 2017. You're able to log in via Zoom. We had Zoom then. It was not, people didn't want to use it. It just exploded after the pandemic.
Pandemic, yep. And you had all these other things that came out too, right? You had Microsoft had their own their Teams. And
Microsoft Teams has been around some time. People were using it some time now.
And they sophisticated it, man, because one of our professors used that for her class, and it has all the information you have with webcasts. You can have the actual broadcast. They
Yeah.
call it the school information, the documents, and they're all for one class, man. It's such a beautiful tool.
What I saw, well, my mom's a teacher here in Trinidad, and they utilize Google Classrooms.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
So it was the first time I got exposed to something like that, Google Classrooms. My dad is also a lecturer, and they utilize Microsoft Teams for his classrooms because they're a little bigger and a little more advanced when it comes to the technology.
Okay, okay.
So-
your father teach?
He's a technical instructor, and they teach like vocational courses.
Okay, okay. So that means you know how to pick up a hammer and a nail, Kim.
Maybe. He's a little more complicated.
Oh Lord. So you're a girly girl, Kim?
I would say so.
Girly girl. What about your sister? She more
No,
masculine?
she's a little more strong.
Okay, she's more.
I think what happened, remember, I'm also a lupus patient. So that happened in my 20s.
Okay.
And even though I can do things on my own, because I had some health issues as a teen, and I didn't really pursue doing heavy lifting because of the pain and aches, and so
Right.
heavy lifting was not my strong. The one time I tried lifting up a computer station up the staircase, and I landed in the hospital.
Oh Lord Jesus, come on, Kim, really? That's sad.
And my dad had put me at the bottom of the staircase, and he was at the top lifting it. It was horrible.
Wow. Yeah, I know.
Damaged me.
Yeah, now with us. That's good. You're in safe hands here with Yuri on the LimeVibe podcast, Kim.
But
Yeah,
I think, I can still handle myself. We have International Women's Day coming up on Wednesday. I'm looking
Yes, that's
forward
right.
to observing
for
that here on LimeVibe.
So what are you doing for that? You're going to observe it on LimeVibe? What else special is
This
happening?
year's theme is, I think, embrace equality. I know that you Bohemians have a different outlook on equality and things like that, but we can look at it from a regional perspective.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're
this,
not-
the symbol is embrace equality because you're going to embrace yourself. The thing is, there's a concern of, embracing equality. What does it mean in this day and age? And I feel like there's this whole erosion of woman, what being a woman is, the definition of what. Yeah.
Well, the
Because
attention women have been getting over the last 10 years, you think there's an erosion of the womanhood? Really, Kim?
yes, I think, and I will tell you why, because of the alphabet people,
Okay.
right? And so women now have to be inclusive
Mhm.
of these people. It might come back to bite me. Just
Yeah,
like
it
this girl, what's her name? The Harry Potter writer,
oh yeah.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, yeah. She's on the fire now, isn't she?
Yeah, she's under fire because she spoke out about there's some things that are innately woman. I mean, what we experience in our bodies, having a period. Transgender person is not going to experience having a period. You're not going to experience the bodily changes of becoming a woman from a little girl at age 11.
But you want to hear something, Kim? I know the feminist movement, they were going to run into trouble when they started to embrace this transgender, this LGBTQ.
But it feels like it forced at people.
Yeah, I knew we were going to run because there was going to come to a point where you know that a man competing against a woman was just not going to work out. And there's certain things that a man can do that a woman can't do, and certain things a woman can do that a man can't do. You know, there's going to be some difference there somewhere. So
We need to understand biological differences. There are innate biological differences.
Exactly.
You need to respect that. And
Exactly.
I mean, I don't really care about your lifestyle, what you do, who you love, whatever.
Because you know what it sounds like to me now, Kim? As you girls now, you trying to pick and choose what you want from this entire pie. Oh, we want this, but we don't want that. You know, we want to be treated like ladies, but we don't want to actually run into the burning building to actually pick up somebody who's actually in a burning building. That's what it sounds like you guys want. You got cherry picking now.
Cherry picking. I mean, I think that's probably happening more to America. Cherry pick. I mean, we have women here that are in the fire service that will work as to their ability. There's an understanding. There's only so much, as you said, biologically what you can do with your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah. You know, a woman just can't be a man. A man just can't be a woman. I can't see myself giving birth. I can't see myself having a period. I just can't see it.
And you cannot say you're fully woman when you have not experienced everything that has happened with you developing as a woman.
Exactly. Because the way you were socialized is something different than I would have been socialized.
Exactly. Now I will tell you, as a girl growing up, what I would have experienced, you know, with my body changing, having a period. We shall leave this discussion really for Wednesday.
Yeah, let's have this Wednesday. Yeah, we out of time anyway, Kim. It's about 9:28. Any final thoughts tonight? It was a good show tonight, I think. It was a great show. We're getting better at this, Kim. The LimeVibe podcast is becoming the thing, you know?
You're hearing the rants from Trinidad all the way up to Bahamas as the Transparency International defines the Caribbean.
Yes.
It's up there to down here by me.
We're raising the standard. This is going to get better, Kim. I believe it's going to get a lot better as we go along, Kim. Any final thoughts? What do you got to say? What do you got to say, Kim?
I just want you all to have a safe and happy March as we start this third month of the year, just to tell you how fast 2023 is going by.
Yeah. It's the third month already, Kim. The third month already. It's going by. This week's soon over too, you know. Because when we get Monday, that's pretty much downhill, you know. Because I already counted out, you know, once I get past Monday, everything is like downhill. So I'm working towards next week as well, because I got some things coming up next week. So it's downhill from there. Just a downhill run. So that's what I got going on, Kim. So otherwise than that, I had a great day. I'm going to have the rest of the week. I'm going to have a great week for the rest of the week too. So once again, thank you for joining the LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yori Kemp. I'm here with my co-host, Ms. Kimberly Ram-Calawan. So please, if you have not done so already, go to our YouTube page and click subscribe and like the page and like the video and just share the video and share the page. And if you're not on YouTube, you go to our Facebook page and you could click like to our Facebook page, LimeVibe, and you could actually like the video and you can subscribe to us so you can keep us in your mentions and keep us in your loop. Because liking and subscribing to us really helps us out. It helps us to build our audience and helps us to actually get our message out there. So please subscribe to our YouTube page and subscribe to our Facebook page, please. This is Yori Count from the LimeVibe Live podcast, saying goodbye from myself and Ms. Kimberly Ram-Calawan. We see you guys on Wednesday, God willing.
Good night.